Hi everyone. So CPRE are another irritation or another boil on Croydon Council's back. We are the Campaign to Protect Rural England. We're a national environmental body. We have groups in every county, so an office in every county of England. We have a regional group in every region of England. And we have a big national office in London. Our president is Bill Bryson, I'm sure you've heard of him. We have 60,000 members and supporters across the country. We are a lobbying and campaigning body. We don't dig ditches or plant trees or manage land. We try and influence decision makers. That is the role of CPRE. And we try to work with groups like SNUB and all sorts of other groups across the county and across England indeed that are fighting local issues and becoming mobilised. We try and work with those groups, but we tend to take the bigger picture, looking at planning in Norfolk, in the east of England, and in England as a whole. We tend to look at the bigger picture of things. We are interested in good planning, in sensitive planning, in planning that takes account of the environment, that is going to ensure that landscapes and rural areas are protected for future generations. That's very much what we want to see. We're not about saying we don't want any housing, we don't want any new roads, but like Stephen's saying, it's all about it being appropriate and very well planned and in consultation with local communities. That's very much what we want to see. So we don't chain ourselves to diggers or march up and down outside the council offices. That's not really our style. We go in at the high level where decisions are being taken and try and get in to influence them at the beginning. That's very much our role. I have to say that CPRE has been fighting housing. These housing proposals in Norfolk have not just come out of the blue in the last year. We have been fighting these for years and years and years at a national, regional and county level. And we're very involved in consultations of the East of England Regional Assembly. It's all coming from the regional government. And we could see 5 years ago what was coming down the line for this county. But at that time we were very much a lone voice, objecting to all the plans by politicians and developers and people who are wanting economic growth. Regional planning is not sexy for people, and I'm not surprised that many people don't get involved with it. But now, many years later, it's filtering down to actual, planning proposals in local areas. And that's when groups like SNUB and people like you here get mobilised, because it's very real then, and it's very on the doorstep. But we have been, campaigning about these things for many years. So, that's all as it should be, and all power to groups like SNUB, and we really want to work with you. We're hoping we can bring a body of knowledge and advice of the whole planning system and the whole picture to the table to support the work that you're doing. So I hope that gives you some idea of who we are and our place in things. I just want to say something about the issues that you're facing here in Ratkeith as we see them. If I ask my friends in Norwich about eco-towns, they will they will paint a picture to me of something very small scale, people living in low impact buildings, you know, that are made of straw or cob or earth, that are growing their own food, that are living a very simple life. You know, that's their kind of imagination of an eco-town. And I think it's a very popular misconception that an eco-town is going to be something really different from what we already know. It isn't, of course. It is not. It's going to be a very big new town between Norwich and the Broads, built by Barratt Homes, a series of massive housing estates on concrete foundations in the open countryside. That is what it's going to be, and I try and explain to my friends that, and that's just so not their perception of it. And I think that's a very common misconception in the general public of what an eco-town is going to be. Sure, the houses are going to be, you know, I expect the houses to be more energy efficient than what we're used to now. They will be well insulated. Plans are for them to have solar panels and use renewable energy. But as Stephen said, you know, in a few years' time, that will be the standard anyway. And that is the way that building regulations and the planning system are moving anyway. So, again, it's not something fundamentally different being proposed than what is already, you know, coming about through planners and developers anyway. So that's another very big misconception, that it's going to be something fundamentally very advanced. It isn't. We at CPRE believe that if the government were really serious about cutting carbon from the housing stock, they would make it a lot easier for people to do something with their own homes. They would vastly improve the grants available to the ordinary homeowner for renewable energy technologies. They would start a programme of retrofitting all council houses in the county to make them more energy efficient. And they would just apply the standards that they're talking about for the eco-town just to all new housing. I mean, what is stopping them doing that? We don't need to build massive new towns in order to do something about housing energy efficiency. So that's all back to front to us.